Are we there yet? We've been walking what seems like forever, and I don't see anything that resembles a house.
Actually, it's only been about 20 minutes since we left the car. I'm sure Mrs. Reed's place should be right around here.
Oh, it's so hot.
Have some water. You'll feel better.
Oh, I doubt it.
According to what she said on the phone, and according to this map, Mrs. Reed's place should be right around here.
Oh, this is a waste of money. I could have worked an extra shift at the hospital instead of wandering around Niagara looking like a couple of lost Boy Scouts.
Mrs. Reed's hardly charging us anything for the tour.
Oh, I don't mean the tour. I mean the hotel, the meals out. You've been out of work for 6 months now, and we don't know how we're going to make the next mortgage payment. We shouldn't be wasting money on a holiday.
I thought a day away would be good. I know things have been tough lately.
Lately?
And, honey, don't give up on us yet. Things will get better.
My parents think we should sell the house and move back in with them.
Really? That's what your mother had up her sleeve when she asked you to lunch last week.
Oh, I knew you'd be angry.
Angry? Of course I'm angry.
Well, she's just trying to help me find a way out of this mess.
Which mess? The house or the marriage? Your parents never liked me. They would have preferred a Bay Street lawyer to a printmaker with few prospects. We couldn't move in with them. It would never work.
I don't think she's suggesting you should move in.
I see.
Peter, I don't know what to do.
And don't give up on us. Not yet. Please. Those computer programming courses I'm taking are going to pay off. Businesses everywhere are going to be relying on computer technology. It's already happening. I hear they're testing a server that will connect the whole world through computers. They're calling it the web. There will be lots of work for people with my skills. We can get through this.
I hope you're right.
I am. You'll see. Look, can you please just put the phone behind us for the day? It's beautiful here, and I wanted to bring you to a place I loved as a kid.
Yeah, I guess it's a nice change from the city.
For my friends and I, this was our kingdom. We'd roam the fields and orchards, climb the rock formation, explore the caves. It was the best childhood ever. I just wanted you to see it.
Okay, well, we're here now. Let's make the best of it.
There is the house of the famous bushman.
Could it possibly be that barn back there?
Well, you two better be Peter and Ann, or you better get off my property.
Well, that certainly sounds like Mrs. Reed from what I've heard of her. Yes, Mrs. Reed, it's us. Peter and Ann.
Oh, well, I'm glad to see the two of you dressed for the occasion. Oh, no, you wouldn't believe the number of people who show up in flip-flops and sundresses, and they think that they're ready to explore the escarpment.
We're prepared, all right. I knew what we needed. I used to live in Beamsville, and I explored this area many times when I was young.
Ah, so you know what a special place this is.
I do. I even went on tour with you when I attended the Cave Springs camp. I'll never forget those stories you told. I'm sure Anne loved them. Those stories really fired up my imagination. Deserting soldiers and lost treasure, the hidden cave of Indian artifacts, German spies, the lost underground lake, the mysterious carvings.
Oh my, you have such a good memory.
My friends and I spent many happy hours here exploring the area, hoping we could solve some of those mysteries and make some stupendous finds of our own.
Oh yes, I do believe that Cave Springs is enchanted here.
Go on, tell Anne how old you are.
Oh, Peter, what a rude thing to say.
Mrs. Reed doesn't mind. She tells people all the time.
Well, I'm 300 years old, give or take a year or two. At least that's what I tell the kids. It's one of the reasons I'm known as the Witch of Cave Springs.
Mrs. Reed attributes her long life to drinking water from the mineral spring here.
Oh, the magic magnesium mineral springs. As the water percolates through the escarpment cloud, it collects up magnesium sulfate, also known as Epsom salt, well known for soothing upset tummies.
Well, Mrs. Reed, where will we start? The ice caves? Adam Steps?
Well, first things first. I always like to know what my guests are interested in so that I can provide a proper tour.
Birds. I'm a member of the South Peel Naturalists. And plants. I've heard there are some cedars growing out of the escarpment that are over 1,000 years old. I've also read there are some very rare orchids here. I'd love to get some photos if you can.
Ah, well, you certainly do know what an important place Cave Springs is. Now, Ann, dear, what are some of your interests?
Oh, the caves, I guess.
Oh, I sense a lack of enthusiasm there. How about history? Settlement in this area goes back 10,000 years to when the neutral Indians first settled here.
Oh, Mrs. Reed, would you mind if I used your washroom? It was a long drive from London.
Yes, dear, the door is unlocked.
Thanks.
And if you get a cat attacked by 2 Siamese cats, don't mind them. That's only Cassandra and Pandora. Good names for cats belonging to the Witch of Cave Springs, don't you think?
Perfect.
Now, I can't help but notice that she's not as excited to be here as you are.
She's been having a tough time of it lately. We've been having a tough time. I thought a day away would be good. Help take her mind off things. She's got a grueling job. She's a neonatal nurse, and let's just say there have been a few cases lately that had her in tears. She's great at what she does, though. It's one of the many reasons that I love her. Ah! Is that a peacock I hear?
Yes, it is. I also have 2 Arabian horses out back there behind the barn. You know, I've always enjoyed the company of animals over humans, with the exception of children. Oh, I just love the tours I do with kids, seeing their eyes light up when I tell them about this place. Well, it's just made all the fighting I've had to do to save Cave Springs worth it.
Have there been many back?
Oh, continuous. Almost since the first day I bought this place, and it all started with the sound of chainsaws. What on earth are you doing here?
Clearing trees.
You can't just come on my land and start chopping down trees.
Listen, ma'am, I'm only doing what I've been told.
Told by whom?
Town of Lincoln Public Works.
But why on earth?
We gotta widen the road, and I gotta clear the trees to widen the road.
Stop right there. This is my land. I bought this 9 months ago. I have the deed if you need to see it.
I know what I've been told. The town of Lincoln needs a 66-foot road access, and it's their property. Besides, we gotta widen the road to make room for the turning circle for the buses.
Turning circle? And where do you think that's going?
It's going right over there.
But that's 100 feet from my home. And let me state again, this is my land.
Cave Springs Camp requested it. The town of Lincoln approved it in April.
April? But that was 7 months after I bought this place.
Listen, lady, you gotta move. I gotta clear all of these trees and have them burnt by the end of my shift.
Over my dead body. Now you just pack yourself up in that devil-made machine, back into your truck and go. I'll be calling the mayor and my lawyer, and if you so much as touch one twig before that happens, I'll hold you personally responsible. Don't you make me put a curse on you. Oh, my poor pear trees.
At least you stopped him.
Oh, it wasn't over, not by a long shot. I had to take this fight all the way up to the Supreme Court of Ontario.
We've got to do something about that darn woman.
Well, he can be difficult, no doubt, but since they've settled the lawsuit, Cave Spring Camp Board said, gotta figure out how to work with her.
Work with her? She's been fighting everything the town has tried to do since she bought that place. How did she ever get possession of those 2 condemned barns anyway? Somebody in this town needs to be fired. If I ever find out who...
Mayor Bucknall, that's all in the past now. What's done is done.
What's been done is we lost the case. Our town solicitor is another one who should be fired. Do you know what that cost us? $40,000.
Well, to be fair, the town risked that when we took her to court, and that's legal fees. Hers and ours. The judge only awarded her $500, and she didn't even ask for that. He just gave it to her.
What the hell is the matter with that judge?
She presented a compelling case. 55 exhibits, 18 witnesses, all providing evidence that her driveway was not a public road.
Look. She's trying to control what happens in this town, and I'm not going to let her. That's what council was elected for, That's what I was elected for.
To give her credit, she does recognize the importance of Cave Springs from an environmental perspective.
She's a damn hippie tree hugger and a witch to boot.
Oh, come on now, Delby. You know she's no witch. It's just a story she likes to tell the kids when she's explaining to them about the magical springs.
Look, the people of this town aren't with her. They don't want people coming in from outside telling us what to do with our own land.
Her own land, sir, as the court case proved. I think she has a point about saving Cave Springs. It's beautiful up there with the views and the rock formations. We should try to find a way to save it for future generations.
She is just a contrarian. This town needs to grow, but she's appointed herself a one-woman savior for every tree and every toad on the escarpment. No, first she fought the chiropractor that she bought the land from when he wanted to develop his property. Then she fought Mrs. Zemenek's application, and now she's fighting Petry from developing his vineyard.
No doubt about it. She's a fireball. That woman, I'm sure she'd love to throw me over the fence a time or two. But you can appreciate her passion, and you can't help but stand amazed at her desire to protect the land.
Well, we all know she's really good with the kids. She's a great storyteller that makes the history of the area come alive for the campers.
Maybe we should ask her to join the board of the Conservation Authority. That would give her a say and keep her out of trouble.
Keep her out of trouble? What about all the people that she yells at? We can't have tourists afraid to come here.
Sir, she does have a major problem with trespassers. Hikers from the Bruce Trail regularly wander down to her property. Town kids wander up, and DB, even your campers, find themselves there late at night. She's afraid they're going to fall down a rock formation in the dark. Something I hear that's known to happen.
Well, we all know young people. They're always looking for a little bit of adventure.
Mayor, put yourself in her shoes. She's an older woman living alone. How would you behave if you found strangers wandering around your yard?
Still, something must be done.
Look, our board is thinking seriously about presenting an offer to buy Mrs. Reed's property.
She won't sell. Petry offered her $50,000, 3 times more than what she paid for it 5 years ago. No, she turned him down flat. She said, "When I lost all my money, I realized the value of life itself. Everything I've tried to do since, I've tried to protect this land long into the future." What are you going to do with somebody like that?
Well, we need to make her an offer she can't refuse.
Make a deal to purchase her land and allow her to be a tenant. Yeah, for life.
Ooh, that just might work. I have a good relationship with Mrs. Reed. Let me know if I can help.
Sure, I'd appreciate that.
I hope you know what you're in for.
Well, it took 5 years, in fact, but that's what happened. I got my mortgage paid off, I have lifelong tenancy, and in exchange, I conduct the tours for the public. And as the attendant here, I get paid $75 every 2 weeks.
That's wonderful. It's been quite a struggle. I'm glad things have worked out for you.
Well, I even joined the Conservation Authority's board 2 years ago. They may not always like what I have to say, but I want to ensure that their plans for this new conservation area really protect the land. This is such a fragile ecosystem here.
Mrs. Reed was just telling me about all the battles she's been through to protect this place.
Oh, it is lovely. You know, I once read that all of Niagara was underwater and that the escarpment marks the shore of an ancient inland sea.
Yes. Well, in fact, we are part of 2 unique ecological systems here. First, we're part of the Niagara Escarpment, home to roughly 1/4 of all the flora and fauna in all of Canada, and we are also part of the Carolinian Zone.
What's that?
Well, it's the northernmost, or the southernmost, not northern, southernmost tip of Ontario. And although it's only 1% of Canada's landmass, we have more species of flora and fauna here than anywhere else in Canada. Unfortunately, though, it's also where the largest population of Ontario people live, and as a result, we now have over 60 species on the endangered species list.
60? Wow, that's shocking.
Oh, yes, we've lost so much with all this development here. But you know, I would love to bring back the Carolinian forest. I'd start by planting some sassafras trees over there. Did you know that they used to make root beer from sassafras? And some tulip trees over there. Oh, they're so ancient, they go back in time all the way to the Cretaceous period.
Oh, that ancient?
Oh, yes. And I'd love to put in some cucumber magnolia. Now, that's a very rare tree, as most of the forests that they were in have been chopped down. It has such an interesting flower. It senses when insects land on its petals, and it closes up its petals, trapping them.
Oh, like the Venus flytrap?
Well, yes and no. It doesn't want to eat the insect. It just wants to ensure that it's been coated in pollen totally, and then it opens up its petals and allows the insect to go on its way of the important job of pollinization.
Nature is really amazing.
It is.
Is that an Acadian flycatcher I see?
Ah, yes, I believe it is. But I haven't seen so many in recent years.
Why do you think that is?
Oh, I have my suspicions. I think it's all the pesticides that they're spraying around here. How are birds supposed to find a food source when we keep poisoning all the insects?
Yeah, Rachel Carson, Silent Spring.
Exactly. The sooner we as humans realize that we too are dependent on nature, the better. And the sooner we start working to protect it, the better off we'll all be, the planet will be.
It's a lesson a lot of people need to learn.
Oh, yes.
Can I go visit the horses? I brought out.
Oh, yes, always a welcome gift.
Oh,
Now, I can't help but notice that you're not as excited to be here as he is.
Yeah, well, I just have a lot on my mind.
Marriage troubles? Or money troubles? Or both? Oh, both, I see.
Well, not only are you a witch, but you're psychic as well.
Oh, no, just someone who knows something about troubles. I've been married 3 times. And about financial issues? Although I was born well off, I married poor, and I got to know desperate and destitute real well. Then I managed to climb back up the social scene in Toronto, only to lose it all again. And now, here I am talking to a beautiful young woman who seems to be wallowing in self-pity. And you're not noticing what's going on.
Wow, you're blunt. Some would say rude.
Oh, I've been told I have a penchant for saying things that no one else would say. But you know, I'd rather face the truth and wallow around in a fog of lies and niceties. Now, I don't mean to be unkind, dear, but I grew up in the war, surrounded by women whose world were being bombed to bits, and they never so much as shed a tear. They just got on with it. I believe that your character is shaped by how you deal with adversity.
Well, Peter's been out of work for months now, and we owe more on the mortgage than what the house is worth. So my parents think that we should sell the house, no matter the loss, and that I should move back in with them.
So you should move in? Not you and Peter? Oh, I see. Peter's a good man. Do you love him? Well, he sure loves you. You can see it written all over his face. Now, I don't suppose that your house has a basement?
Well, yes.
Well, then why don't you and he move in there and rent the upstairs out and pay down the mortgage?
Oh, well, the basement doesn't have a kitchen.
So what? You can't buy a hot plate and a mini fridge and make do for a year or two? You wouldn't believe what I had to put up with when I bought this place. The barns were window-smashed messes. The yards were filled with garbage. People had been treating this place like it was their own personal garbage dump for years. I had no heat, no hydro, no running water.
Well, I guess I'm not as strong as you.
Oh, well, yeah, do I look like a weightlifter to you? No. True strength comes from in here and in here. And I believe that you have all the strength that you need.
wow, Mrs. Reed, you have really got a piece of paradise here.
Oh, yeah, don't I know it?
And do you think someday we could move out of the city, get a place here in Niagara with a little land?
Oh, yeah, the prices here must be better than in the city.
Of course. Then we wouldn't be so close to your family.
And sometimes you have to make some sacrifices to make those things you love happen.
Well, Mrs. Reed, how about we get this tour started?
You know, I'm feeling a little dizzy all of a sudden.
Oh. Are you all right?
Oh, yes, I'll be fine. But besides, Peter, you already know all my best stories. Why don't you share them with Anne? And and here's a little map with all the highlights. It's just a rough map. It'll help you.
Can we get you back to the house?
Oh, no. You know, a little bowl of ice cream and I'll be right as rain. No, you two just go on without me and enjoy your day.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for your stories, Mrs. Reed.
Which way should we go?
How about that way?
Sounds good to me.
You know, Peter, I've been thinking, and I may have come up with a plan to help save the house.
Really? Tell me about it.